The city of New York never truly slept. Its skyline glittered like diamonds scattered across velvet skies, the streets buzzed with yellow taxis, and the air carried both excitement and unpredictability. For Lily Parker, a 23-year-old art student from Ohio, New York was a dream that sometimes felt too big to hold. She had moved to Brooklyn a year ago, chasing her passion for painting. Her apartment was small, tucked above a coffee shop that always smelled of roasted beans and pastries. Life wasn't perfect. Between school, work shifts, and the loneliness that sometimes crept in during quiet nights, Lily often wondered if she could handle the city. One cold December evening, everything changed. Snow fell softly, covering the sidewalks in a thin white blanket. Lily had stayed late at the campus studio, working on a project for her final review. By the time she packed up her brushes and canvases, the streets were quieter than usual. She bundled herself in her scarf and began the walk toward the subway. As she crossed a dimly lit street, she noticed someone following her. At first, she thought it was just coincidence. New York was full of late-night wanderers. But when she quickened her pace, the footsteps quickened too. Her heart began to race. By the time she reached the subway entrance, the figure was closer. A tall man in a dark coat, his face hidden under a cap. Fear flooded through her. Instead of going underground, she turned sharply and dashed into the nearest open building, a small bookstore that stayed open 24 hours. The bell over the door jingled, and Lily pressed herself against a shelf, trying to catch her breath. From behind the counter, an older man looked up. His name was Thomas Reed, a 70-year-old retired teacher who had owned the bookstore for decades. With silver hair, round glasses, and a kind face, Thomas was known in the neighborhood as someone people could trust. "Are you all right, miss?" he asked, his voice calm but concerned. Lily nodded shakily, though her eyes darted toward the window. "I think someone was following me." Thomas set aside his book and walked to the door, peering out. He didn't see anyone, but he didn't dismiss her fear. He locked the door and flipped the sign to closed. "You're safe here," he said gently. "Stay as long as you need." And that was how an unlikely friendship began. The bookstore was warm, its shelves lined with novels, history books, and poetry collections. A small heater buzzed near the counter, and the faint smell of old paper filled the air. Lily sank into one of the armchairs, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Thomas returned with 2 mugs of hot cocoa. "It's late, and the snow's not letting up," he said. "Why don't you stay here tonight? I can't let you go back out there while you're this shaken." Lily hesitated. Spending the night in a stranger's bookstore wasn't part of her plan. But something about Thomas felt trustworthy, like the grandfather she had lost years ago. "Thank you," she whispered. I really don't want to be alone tonight." Thomas smiled warmly. "Then I'll enjoy your company all night." The words, simple and kind, made her chest loosen. That night, Lily and Thomas stayed up talking in the quiet bookstore. He shared stories from his days as a teacher, about inspiring students who grew into writers, about the joy of books that changed lives. She told him about her paintings, her dreams of having her work displayed in a gallery, and the fear that maybe she wasn't good enough. The snow outside thickened, and the city grew silent. Inside the little bookstore, 2 strangers found comfort in each other's company. At one point, Thomas pulled out an old record player and set a jazz record spinning. The soft music filled the room, and Lily felt as though time had slowed. "Sometimes," Thomas said thoughtfully, "life brings people together in unexpected ways. Maybe tonight was meant to happen." Lily nodded, sipping her cocoa. "I think so too." When dawn finally touched the city, the snow had stopped. Lily thanked Thomas, promising to return soon. She walked back to her apartment feeling safer, lighter, as though the city wasn't quite so intimidating anymore. But the story didn't end with one night. Over the following weeks, Lily often visited the bookstore. Sometimes she came after class, sometimes when she felt lonely, and sometimes simply to hear Thomas's stories. They became close, an unlikely pair bound by kindness and respect. One evening, Lily showed him one of her paintings, a depiction of the bookstore itself, warm light glowing against a snowy street. Thomas's eyes welled with pride. "It's beautiful," he said. "This place has always been my refuge. Now you've captured it forever." And then one day, danger returned. Lily noticed the same man from before, lurking near her apartment, watching her as she came home late. Fear gripped her again. She told Thomas, who listened carefully before making a decision. "You're staying here again tonight," he said firmly. "I won't take no for an answer." That night, just like before, they kept each other company. Thomas stayed alert, checking the window now and then, while Lily painted quietly at a corner table. Despite the fear, the atmosphere inside was calm, safe, and full of quiet friendship. Eventually, with Thomas's encouragement, Lily went to the police. They discovered the man had been linked to several incidents in the neighborhood and arrested him. Relief washed over her, knowing she no longer had to glance over her shoulder every night. Months passed and Lily's artwork blossomed. She submitted her painting of the bookstore to a local gallery, where it was accepted and displayed. On the opening night, Thomas stood proudly beside her, telling every visitor, "That's my bookstore. And that's my friend who painted it." Lily smiled, feeling her heart swell with gratitude. Later, as they walked back to the shop, she said softly, "I don't think I could have gotten through these past months without you." Thomas chuckled, adjusting his glasses. "And I couldn't have asked for better company. I enjoy your company all night, every time we sit here together." And for Lily, those words became a reminder that sometimes the people who save us aren't heroes in capes. They're ordinary souls who open their doors, share a cup of cocoa, and remind us that even in the largest city in the world, we're never truly